Hello everyone, and welcome back to Red Raptor Writes. So, this is a video I didn't plan on. Spider-Man is out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. After their contract for sharing the web slinger for 5 MCU films expired with the release of Far From Home, Disney and Sony failed to reach an agreement for future collaboration. I'm not gonna dig into the details about all the business drama because I'm positive there are already a buttload of YouTubers and internet articles doing the exact thing. This is Red Raptor Writes, so my main focus is on writing, it's in the name. Now, returning viewers already know how I feel about these MCU Spider-Man films. I like Homecoming and think it's pretty good. Far From Home I didn't enjoy as much at all, being the most average Spidey film to ever hit the big screen. While there's certainly fun to be had and some great performances, I find these two MCU installments mostly disposable. I've been tossing this idea of who would be better for Spidey back and forth in my head since my first screening of Far From Home, Sony or Disney. And while everyone and their mothers are crying for their partnership to continue, my conclusion is that neither Marvel under Disney or Sony deserves Spider-Man. Before I get started, you may realize the format's a little different. I'm just going to be playing this Spider-Man game from 2002 based off the original movie, instead of doing the videos like I normally do, just because I want to pump this out quickly and I don't have time for all the editing. I'm still in the middle of my BioShock playthrough. Check it out. So, let's dig Spider-Man up. This is an obvious one. Nobody in their right mind thinks Sony is a good company outside of their video games. It seems like everything they touch turns to crap.
Crap, mega crap.
We've already seen how they treat Spider-Man. Yes, times were great when Sam Raimi was just given full creative control over his movies, but the moment the studio interfered, things started to go downhill. After sinking Spider-Man 3 and the goodwill of audiences, Sony began filmmaking by committee. All creativity that director Mark Webb may have had got squandered by corporate higher-ups wanting to appeal to the greatest common denominator as a surefire way to squeeze the cash cow. A darker aesthetic to appeal to Dark Knight fans, an edgy lead with cool hair to appeal to the Twilight fangirls at the time, a 180-degree tone shift once the Avengers became the hottest thing around, cramming in pointless characters to create an MCU-like Spider-Verse, you get the point. Since Spider-Man 3, Sony stopped letting creators be creative with the character just for the sake of raising profits that they won't raise anyways because no one wants to watch their garbage. And do I even need to mention Venom? A lifeless, brainless, creatively bankrupt mess of a movie that was so dumb and over the top that you couldn't help but enjoy it? On the flip side, Spider-Verse was awesome because, again, they just gave the reins to much more talented filmmakers instead of their executives and marketing department. Thank you, Lord and Miller, for saving this one. So things may begin to turn around, but I'm certainly not getting my hopes up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, what Disney's been able to create since purchasing Marvel has been nothing short of miraculous. Yes, there have been a few road bumps every now and then, but there's a reason why their magnum opus Endgame is the highest grossing of all time. Now, I understand that I'm in the minority here when I say that the Spider-Man Home series is pretty good. Tom Holland was born to play the wall crawler. C-tier villains are turned into some of the best in the MCU. The small neighborhood scale works really well, allowing this character to stand out from the other heroes as well as other incarnations, and due to their humor and lightheartedness, are just as fun to watch as the rest of the franchise. What Disney's done with Spider-Man has been pretty good, but let's not pretend that we've just discovered the holy grail of Spideys. Fans are acting like the greatest incarnation of the character has just been cancelled and replaced with a far inferior one due to some dumb business drama between Disney and Sony. Look, the MCU incarnation is good. Heck, Tom Holland's performance is great, but it's not like you can't do any better. I mean, really. These films have an Aunt May who does nothing but get hit on, a Flash Thompson who couldn't even pass for a middle school cyberbully on Club Penguin, antagonists that keep tying back to Iron Man like so many others in the universe, side characters who are kinda funny at best, irritating at worst, but usually just come in the mediocre variety, no presence at all of the man who raised Peter, giving him his morals and motivation to be a hero in the first place, an unlikable, totally SJW MJ, who thankfully was rewritten in the sequel to be a bit more bearable, a completely rushed romance with little to no effort put in, and uncertainty as to how Spider-Man is to fit into the larger scheme of things. Really, guys? Is this the Spider-Man incarnation you want to see for another decade or so? 'Cause I certainly don't. Now, I don't want this to become another rant, and I don't want to constantly rag on two movies that are certainly enjoyable, but is the potential loss of this incarnation really worth all the grief? A lot more can be done with the character besides two pretty good comedies that are fun but ultimately disposable, so I'd prefer to see someone in charge who's willing to hit it out of the park, not just go for singles. In my humble opinion, Disney can be doing far more with the character than they have been for the past two movies. I'd rather see someone try to make an impactful, heartfelt, epic, memorable Spider-Man movie that will stick with me for the rest of my life, just like Marvel did with Captain America and Iron Man. But, major stinking but here, even after all my negativity towards the series and incarnation, the alternative is Sony having full control again, which sounds terrible. Sony has been the worst film studio on the scene for a decade, so to avoid another catastrophe, perhaps it's best for Disney to come back to the table, stop being greedy, and strike another deal. Maybe this is all just a negotiating tactic and we'll be hearing updates later, but no matter what, pretty good is still better than 90% guaranteed crap. Maybe Sony will go back to letting visionaries take over, but we can't call that yet. Neither Disney or Sony deserve Spider-Man, but sometimes you gotta settle. Not that I have any power, what's done is done. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and be sure to check out my social media. See you next time.